I was drinking like almost a full bottle. Wine is really only making you feel good for maybe 20 minutes. The rest of your day is bleh, because you're either mad at yourself, you're not feeling good, you're not being present. Why would you do something that's so harmful just for that 20 minutes of so-called fun? I was, like, literally pressuring him to drink on his 21st birthday at a restaurant, like, "Drink, drink, drink." He's like, "I don't want to." And I couldn't, like, get over it. I really had no idea that it was the alcohol that was making that disordered eating so much worse. I didn't wanna learn anything new. I wanted to just work out, go to work, work out, come home, cook dinner, and drink. I kind of just became not myself, and,
Right.
my life became so small. My world was tiny, just so small. Now it just feels so much bigger.
Hey guys, today I have Sarah. She is over 2 months sober now. We are going to dive into these, mom life questions with drinking and getting sober and, all the things that maybe we don't talk about enough. But Sarah, thanks for being here. I'm
Thanks
so
for
excited
having
to,
me.
yeah, I'm so excited to have you. I don't think I talk enough. I don't get enough moms on here to just be vulnerable enough
Yeah,
to talk, how alcohol kind of, it takes over parenting in a
yes.
sense. So, how many kids do you have?
I have 2. So I have a son who's about to be 30, and then another son who's 21.
2 boys. Busy mom.
Yeah.
I have some friends that have just boys, and I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
man." It's a
Yeah,
different level.
I talk a lot about this with my sister. My sister has 3 girls, and I always say, like, it was harder when my boys were little just because of their energy, and I know everyone's different, but it was tough when they were real little. It's much easier now, and I think she's having the opposite, like, girls were easier and, like, they're becoming teenagers now, and so she's getting ready to
Sh
go through it.
She's in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely my grandma, she said, "Megan, boys are hard until they're about 9 or 11, and then it's the girls that are hard."
Yeah.
But,
So,
you know, we gotta get through it, right?
absolutely.
So you mentioned never hitting a rock bottom per
Mhm.
se, but what was your quiet breaking point? I think that was April
Yeah.
12th, you said?
So, I will say that I've been for years, I've known in the back of my mind that I was drinking too much, but I just didn't wanna think about it, admit it, really deal with it. I always told myself, "My numbers are good," like, at the doctor, like, all my numbers were great. I worked out every day, I did well with my job. My marriage is good, like, I just kept thinking to myself, "It can't be that bad because, like, look at all these great things,
Yeah.
that are happening." But so quietly, I've been just kind of knowing
Mhm.
in my heart of hearts. And then my mother passed away very suddenly and very unexpectedly.
Oh.
And after the private autopsy that we did, it was revealed to us that she had severe, like, liver damage and some heart
Oh.
damage that we were not aware of. And that's like a whole other thing. But instead of using that as like fuel to kind of get healthier, I really used it as like, okay, now I can really drink, like
Right.
I'm grieving really hard. And this was just the way for me to get through, I almost think at this point now, I almost need to like grieve again because I drank so much after she died that I feel like I need to do this again sober.
Yeah. But I like that
Um,
you bring that up because I feel like we mask those emotions when we're drinking and then we never actually get to heal from them
yeah,
because we've just masked them for so
yeah,
long. And I mean, I've had many moments where I just have things where I just recry about or,
yeah,
they re-trigger all those emotions because now I'm not masking them.
yeah. And I mean, I cried all the time. I cried every day. I did all the stuff that people think like you're grieving, but I think again, I think it was almost exacerbated by the alcohol. Like it made me, cry more. So, yeah, I definitely I need to revisit that whole part.
Right. So it made
Um
you show your emotions more, but not
Mhm.
actually work on the inside.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and there's, just like anyone, you've got stuff that you have to, work on with regard to like your family and your parents, your siblings, and so I'm excited to take that on in a different way. I'm able to like really see things differently, and it's interesting. It's the 68-day journey. I feel like every day I have a new like moment where I'm like, "Whoa, okay." Just putting
Yeah.
pieces together.
April 12th was the day that you
Yeah.
decided to
Mhm.
quit.
And I was a regular Saturday. I My thing was like start at 5 o'clock. Like at 5 o'clock, I basically like turned my life off. It's like
Yeah.
I'm off limits now, like
Mhm.
and it's easier with older children. Like, it got
But were you this way when they were younger also?
no, not as bad.
Okay.
It got worse over the years. So yeah, like when they were little, I did have wine was my thing, wine.
Mhm.
And I would have a glass of wine or 2 or, but it didn't get bad until I would say maybe like 10 years ago. I started
Okay.
noticing I was drinking like almost a full bottle. And then I
Mm.
would say, "Oh, well, it's not a full bottle," It's
It's only 3 glasses, 3
right,
8-ounce
or,
glasses.
I'd leave like that much and be like, "Oh, like I didn't drink a whole bottle." Um, so it wasn't as bad when they were little. Again, like definitely the last 10 years, but then certainly after my mom died, it just ramped up. There were little things along the way, like it's actually not funny, but I'll just tell the story. Um, Several years ago, cooking dinner with my husband, one of our favorite things to do was like open a bottle of wine and cook dinner. And that was kind of our routine. So 5 o'clock, open a bottle of wine, get out the ingredients for food, put on music and start. That was kind of the routine. But I guess we had dinner and I was putting my son to bed and I remember. I hadn't had anything to drink that night for some reason. And I was reading him a story and he goes, "Mom, your breath smells different." And in that moment, I was like, "Shit, like, it doesn't smell like wine," you know? And I remember thinking, "That's pathetic. Like, that's really,
Yeah.
really sad." But again, just went along my way, and I felt like I'm a great mom, I
Mhm.
do all this stuff, we read, we do this, we go, I support him, we exercise, we're healthy, again, just
Check
constantly
all the
telling myself.
box.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Saturday, April 12th, drinking some wine with my older son and my husband, and I just looked at them and I said, "This is my last night. Tonight's it. I'm done after tonight." And it was. And the next day, I told my husband, I want you to help me find something that's like an alternative just to get me through like a week. So we went to this really cute shop here in Atlanta. I wish I could remember the name of it. They had those little drops, like the THC drops.
Mhm.
So we got some of those and I had some non-alcoholic wine and I just started with that, just putting some drops in the non-alcoholic wine and it kind of made me feel like something a little special, put it in a wine glass and that's it. Ever since then I've just been kind of on this new journey and it's pretty amazing and I'm really proud of myself and my family is really proud of me. My younger son is does not drink. So he's 21 and he doesn't drink at all and doesn't want to and I like
Yeah.
to think it's because of the bad influence.
Right?
In
So,
fact, yeah.
like, you say bad influence, but you like, you probably weren't, crazy like some of us?
Um I mean, right? I didn't drive drunk with him in the car. It's mostly just I kind of just became not myself. And
Right.
my life became so small. I don't know how to describe it. It was like I work with kids, so I work in a preschool. That's a whole thing. Teachers, man, teachers drink
I can imagine.
because it's stressful, right? Such like okay, yeah, it wasn't like as bad. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. This is I'm really new in this journey, so I don't know what's like appropriate or not appropriate to say. So I'll just say that it was bad for me.
But
And
that's the thing, you recognized it, and a lot of us don't recognize it, and I think that's the problem.
yeah, I think really for me, it's like I wanted to make I knew at some point I was gonna have to stop, right? And I wanted to do it before we got to the place where like
You
I'm
had
staring
to.
into my family's face and they're like crying and begging me,
Yeah.
begging me to stop. I knew I didn't want to get to that point where just that would be so I just didn't want them to have to go through that. So, yeah, but speaking of my son, this is crazy. He turned 21, we took him out to eat, and thinking back now, I'm just like, I cannot believe I did this to him." I was, like, literally pressuring him to drink on his 21st birthday at a restaurant. Like, "Drink, drink, drink," like, we were sitting at a sushi bar, everyone in the place was like, "Drink, drink," and he was like, "I don't want to." And I couldn't, like, get over it.
Right.
So those are the things that you look back on, you're like, "Man,
But
wow."
my husband and I were talking about that. We kind of brought it up. Well, our kids are going to turn 21 one day, but why do you have to celebrate being 21 with a
I
drink?
know.
Given we all, those of us that are here, have done that,
Right.
or some of us maybe have not done that, but you look forward to being 21 so you can legally drink.
Yeah.
But why not do something different? Like, why encourage the drinking?
I don't know. It's just yeah, it's just what you do. It's what everyone you think you're supposed to do it. I mean, I
Society
apologize to
tells you
him.
to.
Yeah, of course,
Mhm.
absolutely, yeah, and I was part of it, and I apologized to him. He's like, "Mom, you don't have to apologize, it's fine," but, you want to acknowledge the things that you regret or feel bad about.
Yeah. So you said that you think that he doesn't drink because of, like, your drinking?
I don't know, I mean, I think maybe, but also he's just really into health and fitness. There is a huge trend right now with these younger kids
Yeah.
that they're not drinking. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that he's just not interested at all. He just wants to lift weights and eat a bunch of food and
Yeah. Eat his protein.
right?
So, I wanna go back to,
Mhm.
were they CBD drops or THC drops?
Yep.
Because and are you still doing do
Okay, so they were THC, and in the beginning, it was I really felt like I needed something
Yeah.
to just get me over that 5 o'clock
Yeah.
itch. So the drops were what I was putting into my non-alcoholic wine, and I don't really need them anymore. So it was a
Mhm.
couple of weeks, I would say, that I was very much like, I wanna do this. I wanna
Yeah.
have just something that makes me feel a little different from just water, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah,
Um,
for sure. But
and I don't
I'm at
love, like, bubbly drinks. They kind of
oh,
make my stomach feel weird, so
yeah.
but, yeah, I don't really have that need. In fact, we just got back from the beach, and we it was my first beach vacation without any alcohol. It
Good for
was
you.
so great. And I remember watching some of your other podcasts and people talking about, like, the firsts, and I was nervous, I have to admit.
Mhm.
I was worried. I was like, "Is it gonna be any fun?" I mean, just all the things that you think about, and I had a really, really good time, and I was really proud.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. I think I mean, I just talked to somebody yesterday and they went on a trip to, I don't know, out of the country,
Mhm.
and they're within just a couple months of being sober, not even.
Mhm.
And I talked to so many people about, well, I'll quit after my vacation.
Yeah, sure,
But
right.
I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
Let's wait until after 4th of July before we
Mhm.
quit. And, it's just such a, that's what you do. You go on vacation, you go to the beach,
Yeah.
everywhere you go, you have to drink, drink, drink. And it, you did it within 2 months sober and you had a
Yeah,
blast without drinking.
I really did. It's like every day I feel like I've had these, like, dirty, smudgy glasses, and, like, every day I feel like they're a little bit clearer, like,
Yeah.
everything just seems a little bit clearer every day, and I'm just excited for, because I know, almost only 3 months in is, I mean, I know it's an accomplishment, but I know, like, at 6 months and then at a year, like, just things are gonna be so different, and my disordered eating has really gotten better.
Can
Um,
we talk more about that?
yeah, I'd love to, because I feel like
So,
this is really important.
yeah, so that was definitely in part of your email. I feel like this goes hand in hand. I think nutrition and, quitting drinking or drinking, I think it all just food is just as twisted as alcohol when it
Yeah,
comes to our mental capacity.
yeah.
But so what did your eating disorder look like?
Um, and so I wasn't doing this on purpose, but now looking back, I was. So how I knew I was gonna drink a bottle of wine every day, and so I knew how many calories, were in that, what, 800, 1,200, I guess depending. So basically, I would say in order to maintain, you can only eat, like, less than, I would basically tell myself, like, you can only eat, like, a couple hundred calories.
Oh, so you're going, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. So I think a lot of women are stuck on that 1,200 calorie
Yeah,
range,
yeah.
and we got to squeeze that wine bottle into that 1,200, which you're really, yeah, a lot of,
Ridiculous.
you're not eating enough
No,
regardless.
no. So I would eat, like, half of an avocado and then, like, half of a cheese stick and then, all knowing this isn't healthy. I have a CrossFit level 1 certification. I mean, I've done,
Wow.
I know better. But for me, it was like, I'm different, let me just do this. It works for me. I was still training, like, exercising, like, crazy. Performance was still, like, decent, but, yeah, I was not fueling myself. But in my mind, I was like, "Well, I know I'm gonna do this, so I can barely eat anything. I can't let myself eat anything." Um, so it was, it's just not healthy and not again, like, not being a good role model for my family or my kids. So, basically, I would try not to eat anything all day and then cook dinner and drink wine, and it was gonna
And
be like,
barely eat the dinner that you
mhm.
cooked.
I eat some, but yeah, I mean, and no sweets, no, like, it was just very rigid, but, all in the wrong.
I'm not gonna eat this because it's bad for me,
Sure,
but I'm gonna drink a whole bottle of wine. Don't get me
exactly.
wrong. I know a lot of people like that, been there myself. I mean, if
Yeah,
it fits your macros.
right, and, I'm gonna run for an hour, I'm gonna run that off, and then, of course, being my age, I'm 55, so, menopause, suddenly I was like, "Wait, I'm actually putting on weight now, like, I can't, keep doing this."
Yeah.
And again, I don't wanna trigger anyone, but just for me, this is a crazy story. Right around the time I was yeah, so, like, maybe a few months ago, I went to my doctor just to get regular, like, blood work, just the yearly, and I actually asked him if he would prescribe me Ozempic
You
because I was
asked
like,
him if he would prescribe you
yes!
Ozempic?
Yeah, because I thought to myself, "How am I gonna lose this, like, menopausal weight? Well, I know I'm not gonna change, my drinking. I'm not, so what else do I have to do?" And he looked at me and said, "I think you need a therapist more than you need Ozempic."
I was gonna say,
And
I mean,
I'm grateful because that's not what I needed. I needed to stop drinking, and I needed to care for myself and eat to fuel myself. And, I just
this is a topic I could talk about all day long. And for those that have been watching me know that I'm very passionate about
I know. You're a
I
trainer, right?
it yeah, but,
Mhm.
I didn't learn nutrition until 2016, and
Okay.
I'm an 80/20 type person,
Okay, yeah.
and I'm not super strict on anything, but I hate when people turn to a quick fix
Mm,
because they're too lazy to change their lifestyle,
absolutely.
and it drives me crazy. I'm like, you don't even know what is in that. I get some people have legit issues and need to be on it, but you're the perfect example. Like, and you're already thin and fit, and I need to, feel better, lose like 5-10 pounds, give me Ozempic because I don't want to quit drinking. Too many people do that.
It's so embarrassing, honestly, like,
Yeah.
ooh. I mean,
But you're not
I'm
the only one. I know people very like, I know people that take X-Lax because they don't
yeah,
want to eat properly. They just want to
yeah,
drink. I mean, it it's such yeah, people probably need a therapist
yeah,
for food.
and I mean, I'm glad that's that's what he did, and, it was probably another one of those little just that those little reminders, that you get all along before before you make the decision, but I feel like that was definitely something in my mind that I was like, "Ugh, okay.
So
I've tried it."
you didn't realize you had an eating disorder until you quit drinking.
I kinda
Kinda.
always yeah, just in and out of it, like, growing up and not dabbling in it, that's a rude way of saying it, but yeah.
But
Little
women
here
women I feel already struggle so much and with our food and our bodies, and if we only realize what alcohol does to our bodies, perimenopausal, without menopause at all, and in menopause.
yeah.
I mean, it is havoc for our hormones. And, people start like, "Oh, I'm gaining weight, my stomach's getting fluffy."
Mhm.
Well, have you thought about putting down the bottle?
I know.
And I'm not saying that in like a demeaning way. It's an eye opener.
It is.
It's really truly, let me get the quick fix so I don't have to change my lifestyle.
Yeah. I know. And all the cleanses I did, oh my gosh,
Oh,
the
that's
week
another thing. Sorry. I
yes.
just
No, I know. I mean, the juice fast that I would do, just juice for, a week and lose yeah. But I would just go right. The day at the end of the juice fast, I would be right back to like a bottle of wine. And yeah, there was one event where it was the last day of the fast and I was so excited, to get back to the wine and yeah, I because I had been so deprived, leading up to it, my tolerance had quickly gone away even just after a week and I drank too much wine and my husband had to help deal with the intestinal issues that occurred after that. And it's really embarrassing and, you know,
yeah, sorry, I have a million things running through my head because I know that you're gonna get tons of questions. So I'm trying to like think of what you'll be asked. I know one of the questions will be, how did you overcome, you know, that eating disorder also?
yeah,
Work in progress.
I feel better. Okay, I will say I lost that 5 pounds that I wanted to get rid of when I asked the doctor. So
I don't
that's
wanna laugh, but it's just so
I know.
like, only because I just had somebody a couple months ago, "I'm gonna get Ozempic," and sh literally can see the treadmill behind her. She's like, "I don't use my treadmill."
Oh,
And then, then they just she's like, "I don't eat right either." I'm like, "Oh
mm,
my gosh, people, please wake
yeah,
up and just move your body and eat healthy, and you will lose that
yeah,
weight unless you have legit medical issues and need
right.
it." But
Well, my problem was, like, it was I had basically had backed myself into a corner. Really, it was just the alcohol. Like, at that point, there was
yeah.
nothing else because I was training, I was running, I was drinking water, I was doing all the stuff, but the alcohol was the last thing, in terms of how to get rid of that menopausal weight that I had gained. But yeah, I didn't wanna I would have done anything but give up the alcohol.
Right?
But,
It's
my option I ran out of my options. My doctor was like, "No," and then so
good for your doctor.
I know. Yeah.
But you can get it online.
Yeah, I one thing I'm grateful for is I never did any hiding, like, behavior. So, I wasn't, like, wanting to, yeah, sneak around and get anything. Like, I wouldn't have done that without, like, discussing it with my husband. So, but I
That's
don't have to
good.
think about it now. And in terms of, like, eating, I am much more, I hate the word intentional. I know everyone uses that word right now, but I am more intentional. I'm eating more and I'm enjoying, like, some dark chocolate as a treat, or, I'm seeing that all of those things, I can do all of those things, and they're not like bad foods anymore. They're just foods that I'm eating. And I really had no idea that it was the alcohol that was making that disordered eating so much worse.
Hmm.
But it was for sure.
You're depriving yourself of everything else just to let alcohol stay in your life.
I know.
I mean, don't have that dark chocolate because you need to save room for wine. And I feel like I s- so I was doing the carnivore diet with my husband for a few months, and I started getting into that guilty, like, mindset. Like, I can't eat this. This is so bad. I mean, I started, like, feeling bad about what I was eating, and I'm like, I
Mm,
have to stop this right now, or it's going to damage my brain with food. And
yeah.
that is how I work. And I feel like that's how, you know, that's why I believe in balanced eating.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't go out and eat all the carbs and fats,
Mhm.
but uh have like, if you just let go of alcohol, you can have that extra
I
piece of
know.
pizza, or you can have that scoop of ice cream, or you don't have to deprive yourself of
I
anything.
know. It's so freeing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I feel like just freeing in general, not just with food. This is so silly. I wake up when I go to the bathroom in the morning, I look in the mirror and I actually just, like, wave to myself. I'm
Good.
like, "Hi," because I feel like I haven't seen you, and so, like, I feel like I haven't seen myself in so long, like, the real
Mm.
me, because it's just been hidden.
Yeah, those
Um,
glasses have been fogged.
so, yeah, I wave to myself and I go, "Wow, hey," like, "There you are."
Yeah, it's like a
Um,
little affirmation. You did the non-alcoholic wine. I know people
mhm.
will ask about that because I think there's still a huge controversy when it comes to using NAs,
I
and
know.
then the calories still.
Yeah.
And, like, so what was your mindset when you did the NA wine for 2
Mhm,
weeks? Were
mhm.
you still in that mindset of, "Okay, I'm gonna fit this into my calories?"
Honestly, I almost, like, let go of it all.
Oh, okay.
It uh, yeah, because, well, I mean, I did notice that there are, like, 25 empty calories, I guess, per serving in NA wine, but that's not a lot if you're gonna just even have a couple of glasses of the NA wine.
When people are quitting drinking for weight loss, then I think the criticism comes from, well, you're still consuming the calories and carbs,
Okay.
and so that's why, if you had that mindset of, okay, this bottle has 800 calories, I can only eat
Right.
400 calories, but that dropped the day that you let go of
Honestly,
alcohol.
I hardly think about it. I'm more just trying to, like, think, really just prioritize protein. I know that's what everyone's doing now, but prioritize protein, and I know I'm not counting macros or anything like that, but I know that even just 2 glasses of NA wine is, it's only it's minuscule.
Yeah.
So, I'm not really too worried about that right now. I don't know if that's just this a part of this initial.
Like, you were completely freed.
I know! Oh, it feels so good.
Yeah. I used to, like, I calculate my macros here and there. I've been trying to get back into it. But
Mhm.
in 2016, 2017, when I was really into it, I would measure, the first thing I would measure out in the morning is my wine,
Oh, yeah.
and make sure I inputted that so I could work around my alcohol.
Yeah.
And I just realized that the other day when I was talking to somebody, I was like, oh my gosh, I literally used to make sure that that was the first thing I inputted into my Fitness Pal.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I was on track.
So sad.
It is. It's crazy. So the first 2 weeks you got through, and then what else have you been doing to kind of keep going?
A lot of walking, and
I
it's
love
funny because I was like, before I was like, "There's no point in walking. Run. Always run." Everything about me was, like, hard, like, "Do it," like, you know? So I've been walking and loving it, and journaling, which is journaling was weird for me because I had this idea that I had to get away from this idea that I was doing writing it for someone. Like,
Mhm.
I've almost felt like the pressure, this weird pressure of journaling, of, like, making it right, or I don't know, in case someone ever finds it, I wanted it to be sound smart or sound.
Like overthinking it?
And so it took me a little while. I know the thing is you just start, right? You
You just have to
just
start.
start. But I have, and it's been really fun. I decided, not fun, but it's been rewarding. Um, and I decided to actually make my mom the one that I'm writing to,
Oh.
just so I don't feel like it's just kind of, I'm just throwing thoughts out there. So I'm kind of trying to have her be a part of this journey
Mhm.
with me. So I'm kind of writing to her.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like almost, it gives me like an anchor kind of
Yeah.
for.
Do you mind did you know that she had a drinking problem?
Yes, but she also was extremely successful, brilliant, hilarious, healthy, because she did what I did. She exercised like crazy and then
Okay.
basically saved everything for the whiskey. No, not whiskey, scotch. Scotch. That's
Okay.
that was hers. So we knew, but we didn't know the depths of her illness. And yeah, again, like, I don't can't fall into that. Sh Definitely she went too soon
Yeah.
for how, healthy she seemed to be.
So I had a podcast with somebody recently and I pulled some stuff up about like liver quotes, and your liver doesn't give you like a white flag. Like, once your liver is sick, it's sick. And I think a lot of us don't realize that I mean, I know some people will quit drinking for a few days before they have a blood test, or
Mhm.
longer than a few days, but
Yeah.
we work the system to try to get those
Yep.
numbers, and you're just fooling yourself. You're not fooling the blood results, you're fooling yourself
Yeah.
because I mean, I know too many people that have like fatty liver,
Mhm.
given there might be, weight issues or other health issues along with it. But some of these people that have fatty liver, I'm like, it's because you drink. Don't make any other excuses.
I know.
You know that fatty liver can turn into liver failure. I mean,
Yep.
it's, you don't mess with your liver.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't mess with your heart either.
I know.
But
Yeah.
it's sad because we want the best for our parents. We see them and then taken too soon at because of unfortunate reasons.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and yeah, my sister and I are just trying. Yeah. We're working on my dad,
So he
who
has a drinking problem too?
I don't wanna, let's say he needs to cut
Okay.
back.
I think we can all say that about a lot of people in our life. And
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
people probably said that about us too.
Yeah.
And I, it's probably people probably don't see us as bad as we actually probably are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So we're working on it. It's tough. It's a tough, he's trying to reestablish his life as a widower, but he has his own health issues. So it's definitely now, especially now that I'm present and more clear, now I feel more responsible and excited about helping him. Before,
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't want to. talk about it, but then I have to face my own,
Right. It's a reflection.
Um, yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get
Yeah.
there.
Well, I I know it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, but so many people that I grew up with lost their dads because, I mean, a family that I grew up with lost their dad way too young because he was an alcoholic. And a girl I went to high school with, her dad died from cirrhosis of the liver. And it's just, you think it's a joke until it's not.
Yeah.
And you don't realize what it's actually doing to us. And then you quit drinking and you actually can think, oh my gosh, I'm clear headed now.
Yep.
Alcohol was damaging my body.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I didn't
you don't
want it's
wanna
so
face
funny
it
'cause
when you're drinking.
right. I mean, I remember my husband being like, "You should check out this, the Huberman podcast on alcohol." And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 I don't wanna listen to that." I didn't wanna hear it. I didn't want a
No,
hearing of it.
no. We don't wanna hear it until we're ready. And
Exactly.
but we want the best for, our family and our friends now that we're done drinking,
Right.
because there's a whole other life out there. You can actually feel good about yourself and not have a foggy brain or bloated belly.
Ugh, I know. I know. It's funny because I chose the time that we're speaking because 5 o'clock is like was for me, was like the time. I thought it would be nice to chat with you at 5. The old me would already be, 3/4 of a bottle of wine in.
Yeah, because it's 5 o'clock, It's always a joke, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I mean, I had shirts that said, "You had me at day drinking," or, "Whiskey and sunshine," and, I had all the drinking shirts.
Yeah.
And but it's acceptable because 'cause you're starting at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, well, and again, I justified everything because I never really drank I didn't drink during the day, even when it was, like, okay to, like, for example, being on vacation. I never was a day drinker, and I would always tell myself, "Well, you don't drink during the day," like,
Mhm.
"You start at 5, like, it's normal," I would just justify everything, like, I would even watch those shows on A&E where people get sent off to rehab. What are they
Oh, like
called?
intervention?
Yes, and I'd be like, "Well, I'm
Yeah.
not like that." I don't drink in the morning, I don't hide it. I don't
I don't do
mm,
what they did, so I'm fine.
yeah, totally just trying to separate myself.
And I love that you come on and you're willing to share your journey with eating disorder, because I feel like people don't realize they have an eating disorder when they're drinking. And, everybody's stories are so different. And in yours, maybe you didn't have a ginormous rock bottom like some people, but, a lot of women aren't going to admit that they have an eating disorder, especially, being, you said 55?
Yeah.
55 years old.
Mhm.
And I mean, your body's going through tons of changes right now. And just what alcohol is doing, I mean, to your body. And okay, so what would you say to those women that are in their 50s and they're still drinking and have been toying with, maybe I should quit drinking, or, the ups and downs. Okay, I quit drinking for 30 days, I quit drinking for 6 months, but then go right back to it, but
Mhm.
still do have an eating disorder or are
Yeah.
struggling.
I think, honestly, you just have to keep falling in love with how you feel sober.
Right.
Like, to me, that's just my motivation. It's like there's no so you have, like, 24 hours in a day, right? And so say I would start at 5, and then by 7:30, I was, like, ready for bed. That was the joke, like, "Mom goes to bed at 7:30." Like, I go to bed early. I used to tell people, "Oh, I'm in bed by 8." They would be like, "Oh, you're so healthy," like, "Oh, thinking like it was because I wanted to get my, good sleep in. No,
Your
it's
beauty
because
rest.
yeah, no, it's because I was done. Um, but waking up and feeling so proud of myself, so refreshed, looking in the mirror and being like, I finally recognize this person again. That has, I think, kept me also from it's gotten me just healthier with my food.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would say to people. It's again, it just you have to be ready to do it. You have to has to happen, has to come from within, right? You can't have a bunch of people telling you, because people would try if someone had tried to tell me to stop, I would have been like, mm-mm, like,
You
you
don't
know,
mess with my wine.
no, I know what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, I am in control.
Mm-hmm. But keep just and those little like itches that you get, just they go away fast. I was
Yeah.
surprised. Like the 5 o'clock itch now is only lasts like a minute now or less even. Do something else, do something else at 5. If 5 is your time, go on a walk, do a
Yeah.
5-minute meditation, there's meditation apps. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's huge. That's what they say in a lot of the quit drinking books that I've read is walking, yoga,
Yeah.
meditation, just journal,
Yeah.
or, turn on a podcast, read a few
Mhm.
pages, like just do anything to get
Yeah,
through those urges,
sure.
especially in the very beginning.
Yeah, I started teaching myself guitar. I have a
Huh.
background in music, so I picked it up kind of quickly, but yeah, just new thing. And I would never want to do anything like that before. I became so, I don't want, my world was so small. Like I didn't want to learn anything new. I wanted to just work out, go to work, work out,
Yeah.
come home, cook dinner and drink.
Yeah.
I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to explore anything. I wasn't interested. Like I just wasn't,
Your
I didn't
hobby
want to
was
do it.
drinking.
Yeah, my world was tiny, just so small. Now it just feels so much bigger.
So I love the question, everybody, what do you do now that you don't drink? Well, my world is bigger than yours now. Mine's unlimited. Yours is
Yeah.
still just limited because, yeah, you're only
Right.
focused on your bottle.
Yeah, like, "Oh, there's a party that starts at 7." I'd be like, "7? I'm not going to a party that starts at 7. That's when I put my pajamas on and, fall asleep." Just yeah, the world is just bigger.
Yeah, much bigger. You can get in your car, you can drive.
Absolutely.
You don't have to worry about, getting to the store before it closes or making sure you don't run out of wine or, any
Ugh,
alcohol for that matter.
absolutely.
But how
Keeping
many,
track of that was exhausting.
yeah, it consumes our lives so much
Yeah,
more than anybody will ever admit until they quit drinking.
I know. I Another thing I did is I assumed I drank about $20 worth of wine a night, right? So now I put every day I have $20 transferred from my checking into my savings.
Wow.
And, just to see, like, at the end of the year, like, look what you have now, you can go on a little vacation or,
Yeah, it's true.
so
And some days you'd probably spent, I mean, like me, I would, let me grab the $12 bottle of wine. But then
sure.
some days let me try that $25 bottle of
Yeah,
wine.
right, like, it's time to celebrate. There was always a reason to drink,
Always.
whether it be, like, celebrating something or I'm sad, so I'm gonna drink. Yeah,
Yeah.
or I'm bored, or it's just because it's what I do every day. It's my job. 5
Yeah.
o'clock is when my job is to open a bottle of wine.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to the eating disorder really quick. The term drunkorexia
Ooh, I've
refers to
never heard.
restricting food intake to save calories for alcohol, a dangerous and common behavior in women.
Yep, I was there 100%. And then also, saying to myself, "Well, you need to run for an hour because you'll burn that many calories." I know, I know.
I did the same thing. So you go back to, you said that you just have to hit it hard, like working
Mhm.
out, running, and
Yeah.
obviously CrossFit. You're very like, you know, very hard going.
Mhm.
But once I quit drinking, I was walking. I never would have considered walking a workout ever.
Yeah.
And now it's like heavy weights and walking versus let me just die here and make myself sweat so much because I got to do these HIIT workouts 3 times a day
Mhm.
and, do intervals on the treadmill because, I drank the night before. I got to sweat it out. I got to,
Yep.
try to stay fit. Now it's like, oh, I can go for a 30 to 45-minute walk. I can do a 30-minute workout
Yeah.
of heavy weights and,
Sure.
oh, I can actually stay healthy.
Yeah. It's trusting. It's just it takes a long time to trust that. Cause yeah, I mean, I went through that like, "Oh, I don't wanna lift heavy. I only wanna do body weight stuff," but it's the the calculations were exhausting, you know? The, like, I have to run this much or do this much, only eat this much, just all so that I could do that bottle of wine. And then it turned into a little bit more than 1 bottle, you know? I have
Yeah.
to say, like, my tolerance, whew, my tolerance, I could really drink some wine. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I Me too. I like this quote from Annie Grace. You are not giving anything up, you are taking your life back.
Yeah,
I think that just fits so perfectly.
absolutely. Yeah, so when I think about I was kinda trying to say this before, but here's kinda what I'm thinking. 24 hours a day, right? So you start drinking at 5, by 7, you're, like, ready for bed. Really, you only had fun. You didn't even really have fun from 5 to 7. I think really you only had a little bit of fun right at 5 when you had that first glass. Then it all goes right downhill. So if you think about it, out of 24 hours, that wine is really only making you feel good for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then the rest of your day is bleh, because you're either mad at yourself, you're not feeling good, you're not being present with you know, people in your life. Even if you're being productive, you're still not the same. You're still not the same person. So why would you do something that's so harmful just for that 20 minutes of so-called fun?
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. I think too many of us, alcohol creates the illusion of pleasure. It's not the
Mhm.
drink we enjoy, it's the momentary relief
Yeah.
from, withdrawing.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's crazy. Oh my gosh. So 68 days, where do you see yourself in the next 6 months?
Oh, it's funny because, I was telling my sister, I called her, I was in the grocery store, I was like, "I'm so inspired right now, I don't know what to do." She was like, "Okay, okay, like, let's talk about it." There's so many things that I'm interested right now in thinking about doing. It's like your creativity just, like,
Yeah.
explodes, and I do wanna say, though, that the first month, I was kind of a little bit disappointed in how I felt. So the first couple weeks, I felt good, and I was really happy and motivated, and then I got really tired,
Yeah.
and I was not expecting that, like, really tired, like, more tired than I've been, the kind where I was like normally, I'd be like, "Oh, I should go for a run." I was like, "I don't know if I can really do this." I would stop in the middle of my runs and be like, "What is going on? Like, you should be better than you were before."
Yeah.
So that is something I wasn't prepared for, and I don't know if it happens to everyone, but
I
I
think
just
it's
had to kind of
common.
push through it, but I was really tired. So I kind of had this weird bummed feeling. Like, is this even though I was motivated and inspired and happy and felt so much better and was convinced this was the right thing, I was just this little bit of a melancholy feeling. And maybe it's that feeling of like missing the sensation of like that first glass of wine, which is kind of that fun, you know? So I had a little bit of a bummed feeling and then the being tired. And then with that went away. It maybe was like a week. And then I started feeling really good and more inspired and more creative. So ideas would come into my head and I, write it down like, oh, this is something I want to do. And, making lots of lists and being like seeing into the future more and feeling more creative. So
Yeah, that creative spark does it. It is nice. I
it's a
mean, because
really
in the beginning, I can relate to the tired feeling. I started making sourdough, I gardened,
me too.
I sourdough, yeah, and I
Yeah.
made my own from scratch, and then
Yeah, me
I
too.
got creative with that, and I mean, now I'm not doing it. I mean, I do it once in a while, but,
Yeah.
in the very beginning, the gardening, the sourdough, I was making, like, healthy treats, like
Yep.
protein treats. I was in the kitchen, I was making new recipes, but now
Yeah.
my life is back to being boring because, but it kept me going in the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah. I got into baking. I had been into baking and I just stopped because I basically stopped doing anything creative at a certain point. But it allowed me to be in the kitchen and not feel like, because the kitchen is kind of like a place for me that like brings up like the cooking, the wine stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted the kitchen to feel like different. So baking was really helpful because I felt creative and I was in the kitchen and I was not afraid. The first week I told my husband, I was like, "I can't cook. Like, I cannot cook anything. We just have to get takeout or do something else because I don't wanna be in the kitchen." I so that's something else that I
Stay away from
learned.
your triggers.
Mhm. Yeah.
Go out to eat.
Yeah.
Or yeah, take out, I guess, because maybe going out to eat would be a trigger. But that's so awesome. I love that you're so solid, and I I feel like too many people discredit those of us that have only been sober for a shorter amount of time because
Yeah.
just because I've been sober for well, you like 68 days
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, and me going on 2 years compared to those that went to rehab AA and I've been sober for 17 years, maybe we are more solid in our sobriety than those that have been sober for decades. Nobody gets to tell you that, dictate your journey
Yeah.
because we all came from a place and we all have the same common denominator.
Right.
We all want to be sober, but just because my story isn't as brutal as other people's doesn't mean that it's not going to resonate with somebody.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, exactly. I was watching, your most recent one that just came out. The guy was 19 years.
19 years sober, yeah.
It's amazing, but he did say, like, he got this weird itch at 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like I need to make sure I'm prepared for that type of thing. Like, what are you gonna do, when this, like
Hmm.
what is it, the honeymoon phase that I'm in?
Right?
What are
Yeah.
you gonna do when that wears off? And definitely need to have plans in place for that.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you brought that up because Gary's super solid in his sobriety. But yeah,
Mhm.
at 10 years, he had that itch. And I've known people that have relapsed at 10 years
Yeah,
and are back to drinking. And you definitely have to be prepared. So that's a really good point to bring up.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't matter how far you are or aren't into your journey, you have to be prepared every single day.
yeah. When your kids are little, you do their age by days, and then you switch to months, and then you
Yeah.
switch to years. I feel like I'm in that, like, a newborn phase,
Yeah.
like
So
68 days.
I like how you bring that up because in the beginning people are like, don't count the days, stop counting the days. I'm like, I need to count the days.
Yeah.
And then it went to months and now
Right.
I'm on years.
Yeah.
I don't even know what day I'm on. I'd have to calculate it.
Oh.
But, you know, it's it's so true. If that's what keeps you going, that's what keeps you going. Who
Yeah.
cares, Oh, who cares that you're on day 70? I care.
Yeah. 'Cause
I
it's a big
care.
deal, it's
Yeah.
a big deal. Like, I remember even just, like, after 7 days, I was so proud of myself, but, yeah, the more days you get under your belt, also, like, the better it gets, the easier it gets.
Yes. I love
I
that.
bought a little journal, like, just for marking days off, and I just love, like, scrolling through and being like, you see all those little X marks.
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's another I mean, you don't have to have an app, you can have a journal. Like, so many people have different tools that they use. I am so excited and I can't wait to do a follow-up with you, because I love getting people's stories when they're so fresh into sobriety because it's, you know, some of us some people ask for these stories. A lot of people ask for, I want to hear the stories of the people that are newer into their sobriety
Yeah.
versus some of these 10 plus years people, because it's a little bit more, it's fresher. It's fresher in your brain. You
Right.
can, talk to people about, I did this, I did that. This is what helped me. And, because we're all just trucking along and just
Yeah.
trying to get through.
I know. I know. Yeah, Atomic Habits helped me too, that
Oh,
book.
good. I love that book.
Um, yeah, I haven't done anything else other than really have to say your podcast really has helped me so much. It's been I feel like almost everything that I've seen, I've really, like, found something that's helped me, and I've learned something, and, um, I hate to hear that you've been getting some whatever,
Hate.
yeah, I don't understand it, but
I think there's this fine line when it finally starts coming, and especially if you think you know who is doing it, it becomes cyberbullying and it can actually
aw,
become like a legal thing.
yeah,
So I've
do
actually
it
talked to a couple lawyers. So I'm
good.
like, I know that I'm going to get haters, and that's one thing. But when it's coming from a source that is out to bring you down, it's really disheartening.
It really is, and it, like,
Yeah.
makes you wanna rethink, like, what you're doing,
Oh, I have told my husband, it was actually this last Father's Day weekend on Saturday. I said, "I'm done. I'm shutting my website down, shutting my channel down. I am done with this." Because I just, people from my past, like I have a past. I will admit I have a really gross past.
I know.
And, if people want to keep me in my past,
Yeah,
like they don't know me anymore. A lot of my
right,
people from my past aren't in my life anymore. They don't know what I drive. They don't know who I talk to. They don't know who my friends are. Like they don't know what I'm doing. They don't know sober Megan. They only know
mhm,
drunk Megan. So they just
mhm,
want to come at me like and still bring me down. Like I hope that you can change your ways. It's like, well, did you watch my first 3 videos? Probably not.
yeah,
I mean, it's just like, come at me, bro. Like it's a really hard place to be, and I don't mind sometimes I like the hate comments, but it's
mhm,
just who they come from
yeah,
when you know the people that are doing it to you. And I mean, I can take flack, but when you start questioning my, integrity and
mhm,
like that's where you get me.
yeah. Well, I mean, just from a new viewer, there's no one is like, we're not questioning your integrity.
You
Just
guys are my main support.
keep
I love you guys so
keep
much.
keep doing it because it's
Yeah.
important. You're doing really, really great work.
Well, I appreciate it. Like, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. I mean, I wouldn't probably be sober if it wasn't for you guys. And you guys always, I get to vent. You guys always have my back. And, that's not where my family and friends are. A few, but,
Mhm,
like, I know that I can turn to my community and get the
yeah,
uplift that I need when I'm feeling down. And maybe I'm a drama queen sometimes, but like, my community is my journal. Like, my daily post is like my journal. I
yeah,
get to express how I'm feeling, and then it resonates with people.
it sure does.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love being here, and I love when you guys reach out to me and want to be on my podcast and share your stories because you're a part of the community. You're not somebody that's already you don't have your own channel. And,
Right,
you're just, you're, you know, you're not here to prove anything to anyone. You're here to
right.
share your story.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
love it so much.
Well, I would love to do a follow-up. There's still
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there's so much more to talk about, even with the eating stuff and then the grief and,
Yeah, we could deep dive into eating disorder and all all of it that goes with it and the grief because I don't think I've done an eating disorder, deep dive yet, and you'd be the perfect person to do it with.
well, I would be honored.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being
Thank
here.
you.